The God of the Bible is a liar, and chapter 15 of Genesis proves it. Hello, and welcome to the Daily Atheist. I'm Chris Mallard. Thank you for joining me. In this episode of the Evil God Monster of Abraham series, we'll cover Genesis chapter 15 in the Book of Death. The chapter in which the evil God monster lies to Abram, reveals itself to be the fiery, flesh-loving pit demon it is for the first time, and once again, gives away other people's land. Stick around. Avoid having an evil God monster visit you in a drug-induced hallucination by hitting that subscribe button and then that little notification bell. Keep your drug hallucinations God-free, my friends. Now, on with the show. Okay, so chapter 15 opens with Abram talking to a vision in his head that he believes is the Lord. Naturally, the first thing he does when talking to the Lord is whine and complain that he doesn't have any children. The Lord assures him he will have children, more than the stars in the sky. Then, in Genesis verses 7, the Lord gives Abram a bunch of land that belongs to someone else. I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to take possession of it. Real quick, this is an anachronism we should kind of address. The Chaldeans appear... Chaldeans, if you're watching, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. The Chaldeans appear in southern Mesopotamia more than 1,000 years after the time of Abraham. So that indicates the final edited version of the story we got was written much later than the claimed time of the father of the Abrahamic religions. Anyway, back to Abram and the Lord. The Lord told Abram he was giving him some land to possess, and Abram, of course, naturally, immediately doubts the word of the Lord. But Abram said, "Sovereign Lord, how can I know that I will gain possession of it?" Rather than just saying, "Trust me, bro," the Lord tells him to cut some animals in half and tells Abram his descendants will be slaves for 400 years in a country not their own. Then they will get the land. All the land from Egypt to the Euphrates. But here's the truth history gives us. Their predictions of the future are actually our past, and we can easily tell they didn't come true. The answer from the Lord should have been no. Abram never takes possession of the land. Abram, later Abraham, remains a nomadic herder his entire life. He pitches tents, builds altars, and keeps moving. Genesis 12:8, 13:18, 21. The only piece of land he ever legally acquires is the cave of Machpelah, near Hebron, which he purchases from the Hittites to bury Sarah, Genesis 23:17 through 20. Even that is explicitly described as a purchased burial plot, not a divine gift fulfilled. He never builds a city, never rules the land, never sees the promised reality. His story ends with him as a sojourner and stranger in Canaan. The last line of chapter 15 is the Lord once again giving away land that belonged to other people. As it tells Abram it will give his descendants, presumably 400 years later, the land belonging to the Kenites and about 9 other peoples. You should know this never comes true. The descendants of Abram never possess the land promised. At best, they do get possession of a part of the land promised in Genesis 15, but even then it wasn't a gift from the Lord. They had to take it by force and only held it for a short time. So, with the exception of Abram actually having many descendants, everything the Lord says in this chapter is a literal lie that we can look back on and confirm, both historically and biblically. That's right. Even in their own Bible, they never go on to write it in that they go back to receive that land. Never happened. So how do we explain the visions Abram allegedly had? Well, simple, really. Drugs. Yeah. Mandrake, henbane, and opium were all available in Canaan at the time. He could have used one of those hallucinogens in one of their various forms alone or in combination with ritualistic sleep deprivation and fasting. All of these things were used and practiced before and during the time these early texts were written, easily explaining the visions in this chapter. Let's use Occam's razor. Which is more likely? The creator of everything spoke to Abram, demanded he cut animals in half, then appeared to him in the form of a floating, burning fire pot, and then lied to him about pretty much everything. Or the person writing the story is describing a drug or religious trance-induced hallucination. Which is more likely? Genesis chapter 15 is full of lies, blood, and at best hallucinations. At worst, a horrific god of fire who is a compulsive liar. Exactly what you'd expect from the evil god monster of Abraham and its Book of Death. Remember, friends, don't let lying crackhead gods give you land that belongs to someone else by hitting that subscribe button, then that notification bell. I have a whole playlist of me dismantling the Bible chapter by chapter. Click over here if you want to catch that from the start. If you're into the Atheist Top 10s videos thing, click over here. Sin safely, my friends. Take care.